Ever wonder why those big New Year's resolutions often just kind of fizzle out before February even hits?
Oh, definitely. Or, why two people might have the exact same goal, but one succeeds and the other not so much.
Exactly. It's a really common puzzle. So today we're doing a deep dive into a book that offers, I think, a pretty powerful solution. Atomic Habits by James Clear.
And it's important to say this isn't just another rah-rah motivational book, is it?
No, not at all. It's really a practical system, a blueprint almost for turning your daily habits into, what does he call it? A compound interest machine for success.
Mm-hmm. That compound interest idea is key. That 1% better each day, it sounds like nothing, right?
Right. Almost trivial.
But over a year, it adds up. It's
Yeah.
like 37 times better. It sneaks up on you, like watching your savings grow without noticing the small deposits, until suddenly you've built this wealth of good habits.
Yeah, and what I found really insightful, the core idea isn't just set bigger goals or try harder,
No, it's that fundamental shift. He says you don't rise to the level of your goals. You actually fall to the level of your systems.
which really turns things on its head, doesn't it?
It completely does. It means you stop relying on like that burst of motivation or pure willpower because let's face it, that stuff runs out.
Always does.
Instead, you build this invisible architecture,
Yeah.
a system that supports you even when you're having an off day.
Yeah.
That's the real genius, I think, moving from just trying hard
Mm-hmm.
to actually designing your environment.
That really challenges that whole just grit your teeth and do it mindset we often hear. What do you think is the biggest mental hurdle for people to really get that shift from goals to systems?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's letting go of the idea that motivation is the only thing you need, or even the main thing.
Right.
It's about recognizing that your environment, your routines, they're actually way more powerful in shaping what you do than just, wanting something really badly at one moment. It forces you to look inwards at the habits themselves, not just outwards at the shiny goal, and to really design your life to make the good stuff almost inevitable.
And James Clear gives us a really clear framework for that, doesn't he? The 4 laws.
Exactly, the 4 laws of behavior change. And they sound simple on the surface.
Deceptively simple, maybe. The laws are make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying.
Yep. But the real power, like you said, is in the science and the examples behind them. They're not just ideas, they're practical steps, a framework for actually engineering your habits.
Like you want to build good ones, or maybe more importantly for some, break bad ones.
Exactly. It's a system for making the good habits almost unavoidable and the bad habits, well, pretty difficult.
Okay, let's make this concrete. Let's look at these laws in action with some, real stories. We'll start with breaking a bad habit, a really common one.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about Rahul. He's a 29-year-old software engineer, and his problem was, well, classic doom scrolling, right? Stuck on Instagram till maybe 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah. And then obviously struggling to wake up for those 10 a.m. meetings. We've all been there in some form, I think.
Totally. So how did he apply the laws?
Well, Rahul's approach really shows how practical this is. He used atomic habits to make the bad habit less obvious and way more difficult.
How?
First, he used focus mode on his phone, that setting, to basically hide his social media apps at night. So the trigger wasn't right there. It's make it obvious in reverse, really, make it invisible.
Oh, okay.
Then he made it harder. He physically put his phone way across the room, not just on the nightstand, out of easy reach. That added friction, make it difficult.
Smart. So you couldn't just roll over and grab it.
Exactly. And to make the good habit obvious, he put a physical book right there on his pillow. The desired action was literally staring him in the face.
Okay, make it obvious is for the good habit, and the result.
Pretty amazing, actually. Within just 3 weeks, he was hitting the hay by 11:30 p.m., waking up naturally, feeling refreshed around 7:30 a.m. Often didn't even need an alarm.
Wow, 3 weeks. That's fast.
It really is. And what's fascinating is how this connects to that idea of a trigger, something we can talk more about later, how these habit loops work psychologically.
Right, like in addictive apps.
Yeah. Rahul basically rewired his environment. He swapped out that boredom or end-of-day trigger that used to lead straight to Instagram. He replaced it with a new, healthier bedtime routine cued by the book on his pillow.
That really highlights the power of designing your environment, doesn't it? It wasn't just willpower.
Not at all. He changed the cues, changed the friction. He built a system that worked for him, not against him. It's about making the path of least resistance lead to the good habit.
Okay, so that's breaking a bad habit. Let's flip it. What about building a good one? This is Sneha's story. She's a busy mom, and she had this dream of writing a book.
But like so many people, finding the time felt impossible, right? And she knew instinctively that setting some huge goal, like write for 2 hours every single day, was just setting herself up to fail.
Been there. So what did she do?
She went totally atomic. She really embraced the make it easy law, using what Clear calls the 2-minute rule.
The 2-minute rule. Okay, what's that?
Her initial goal wasn't a chapter, not even a page. It was simply write 1 sentence a day.
1 sentence, that's it.
That's it. It made starting so ridiculously easy that there was basically zero resistance. You can always write 1 sentence, right?
Yeah, you really can't argue with that. But that rule, it sounds almost too simple. Is there a temptation then to jump from 1 sentence straight to like an hour once you feel that little burst of success? Does the book warn against that?
That's a really sharp point. Yes, Clear definitely emphasizes consistency over intensity, especially at the start. The whole point of the 2-minute rule is just to show up, to make the habit stick first.
Establish the routine.
Exactly. If you push too hard too fast, even with a good system, you risk burnout. You break the chain.
Makes sense. So consistency first.
And for Sneha, this is where the magic really happened, that 1 sentence. Well, often it turned into 5 sentences pretty easily. Then those 5 became paragraphs.
Because starting was the hardest part, and she'd already overcome that.
Precisely. And incredibly, just 6 months later, she finished the first draft of her novel.
Wow. From 1 sentence a day. That's incredible.
It really is.
And that ties straight into that idea we touched on, action and investment. She made the action tiny, got a small win, felt good, and started investing emotionally in being a writer.
Yes. Each sentence was a small vote for that new identity. It wasn't about the outcome initially. It was about showing up and reinforcing who she wanted to become. That momentum is powerful.
These stories, Rahul and Sneha, they're really great examples of the laws in practice, but Atomic Habits goes deeper too, right? Into some more profound psychological ideas.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about tactics, it's about mindset shifts.
Let's unpack a few of those. First up, identity over outcomes. This one really resonated with me. It's not just changing what you do, but changing who you believe you are.
Exactly. It flips the script.
Yeah.
Are you trying to do something or are you trying to be someone?
Right.
The book uses that classic example. Shifting from saying, I'm trying to quit smoking, which implies struggle and reinforces the old identity, to, I'm not a smoker.
It's subtle, but huge.
It's a profound shift in self-perception. Your actions then start to align naturally with that new identity. You act like a non-smoker because you are a non-smoker.
That's powerful. Okay, another brilliant practical concept, habit stacking.
Yeah, this one's super actionable. It's basically linking a new habit you want to build on to one you already do without thinking.
Leveraging existing momentum?
Precisely. The book gives the example. After I brush my teeth, that's the existing habit. I will meditate for 2 minutes. That's the new habit.
So brushing your teeth becomes the cue. It makes the new habit obvious and easy because it's anchored to something automatic.
Exactly. You don't have to remember separately. The routine triggers it.
Very clever. And then there's the Goldilocks rule. We all know the story, not too hot, not too cold.
Just right. It applies perfectly to habits.
It makes intuitive sense, but how do you find that just right spot? How do you know if it's too easy or too hard?
Well, the principle is that habits stick best when they hit that sweet spot of challenge. Not so easy, you get bored. Not so hard, you get frustrated and quit.
Okay.
It's about staying engaged. You need that feeling of progress, that little bit of striving, without feeling overwhelmed. Finding that zone where you're challenged but capable, it keeps you in that state of flow.
Okay, so we have these laws, these concepts. Why does this whole system work so well? There seems to be some deep psychology at play here.
Absolutely. And interestingly, it taps into the very same psychological mechanisms that make, say, social media apps or games so compelling or even addictive.
Right, you mentioned that connection earlier.
Yeah, for anyone familiar with Nir Eye's Hooked model, which explains how products build habits, you see these incredible parallels. Clear has basically reverse engineered that addictive loop for good habits.
So Hooked talks about true action of variable reward investment. How does that map onto Atomic Habits?
Okay, let's break it down. The trigger in Hooked, that notification, that urge, that lines up perfectly with the cue in Atomic Habits. That's law 1. Make it obvious. Your running shoes by the door,
Well,
the book on the pillow.
got it. The cue kicks things off.
Then the action in Hooked, the scroll or the click, that relates to the craving in Atomic Habits. That's law 2. Make it attractive. You anticipate the reward.
Yeah.
You feel that pull.
Yeah.
The variable reward, the unpredictable like or comment you get that connects to the response in Atomic Habits. That's law 3. make it easy, and law 4, make it satisfying. You do the thing, and you get that immediate hit of gratification.
Okay, makes sense. Trigger cue, action craving, reward response. What about the last part of hooked, the investment?
Right, the investment in Hooked is where you put something back in data, time, social capital. In Atomic Habits, this aligns perfectly with repetition and building that identity we talked about.
Ah, so every time you repeat the habit, you're investing in that identity.
Exactly. You're strengthening the loop, making it more automatic, and reinforcing the belief that this is who I am now. It's like you're becoming addicted to becoming better.
That's a fantastic way to put it. So who really stands to benefit most from using this toolkit?
Honestly, it's incredibly broad. Think about entrepreneurs trying to build consistent sales habits or content creation workflows. Instead of sporadic bursts, it becomes reliable.
Okay, yeah.
Students,
Yeah.
total game changer for study routines, beating procrastination, especially when you feel like you just don't have the willpower some days.
I can see that.
Fitness enthusiasts stuck in that cycle of starting strong then falling off. This helps make exercise a non-negotiable, even enjoyable part of the day. It's really for anyone tired of that go big or go home advice that rarely works long term.
Yeah, because it's not just theory, is it? It's very practical.
Extremely practical. It's a user manual for your habits.
So if you're listening and you struggle with starting habits, or maybe even more, keeping them going, the big shift Atomic Habits offers is moving away from, I just need more motivation, towards, I need a better system.
That's the core message.
And it really does drive home that idea. Tiny changes, genuinely tiny changes, can lead to remarkable results over time.
And that quote from James Clear sums it up so well. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current results.
That's good. Focus on the direction, not just the current position.
Exactly. Where are you heading?
So just to wrap up, maybe a bonus tip, combining Atomic Habits and that hooked idea for really sticky habits.
Yeah, okay, try this. First, set a really clear cue. Make it obvious. Pair it immediately with some kind of satisfying reward. Make it satisfying.
Yeah.
Second, make that very first step ridiculously easy, the 2-minute rule. Make it easy.
Can't say no.
Can't say no. And third, consciously invest emotionally. Remind yourself that doing this habit reinforces the identity you want to build. It's not just an action, it's a vote for who you're becoming.
Cue, easy action, reward, identity investment. Got it.
So the final thought to leave everyone with is maybe this. What's one tiny, ridiculously easy first step you could take, like today, right now, to shift your trajectory just slightly towards a better outcome? What's one micro action that starts building that new identity?